For today's video, we're going to go over 6 problems involving linear equations. The first 2 problems, we're going to check to see if we have a solution to the equation. The first 2 problems, we'll check to see if they are linear first. And then if they are linear, we'll find a solution. And then the last 4 problems will just be finding solutions to problems. So we'll start off with our first problem. And in the first problem, we're going to be asking the question, is the equation linear? If so, we're going to solve for the variable. So I'll type that out. Linear. If so, solve for the variable. Okay, so our first problem we're going to have is 5x squared plus 4x is equal to 12. All right, and we need to ask ourselves, is this problem linear? Okay, that's the first question. In this case, it's not linear because of the squared term here. So this x squared term makes it not linear. Okay. Now, if we just had 5x and not 5x squared, then it would be linear and we could solve for it. But in this case, we cannot. So that was the first question. We'll move on to the next question, which will be very similar. We're again asking ourselves, is this equation linear? And if so, solve for the variable. And so the next question we have is 4x plus 7 is equal to 16. And so in this equation, we only have one x term. It's of a single power. And so in this case, it is linear, which means we can solve for this. So in order to solve for this, I'm going to use the addition property to subtract 7. So technically it's this. You can think of it as a subtraction property, but it's really just the addition property. I'm going to subtract 7 to both sides. I'm going to get 4x is now equal to 16 minus 7 is 9. And then you can think of the next thing I'm going to do is one of 2 ways. One, I can either divide by 4 to both sides, okay, or you can also think about it as multiplying by 1 over 4 to both sides. Either way, technically multiplying by 1 over 4 is the more correct way to say this, but depending on what class you're in, you could also just say you're dividing by 4. So once I've taken care of the 4, I am left with, just on the left-hand side, x. And then on the other side, I have 9/4, which we can write as a mixed number, which is 2 and 1/4. Okay, and that's my answer. Okay, we'll move on to the next problem. In our next problem, we're going to ask, is x equals 5 a solution? So let's go ahead and ask that. So is x equals 5 a solution? Whoops. To the problem below. Okay. And so the problem we're going to have is 12x plus 22 is equal to 78. All right. And so we want to figure out if this is a solution to the problem. In order to figure out if it's a solution, we need to plug in x is equal to 5 into x here. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So I'm going to have 12 times 5 plus 22 is now equal to 78. And we're going to see if that equality holds up. 12 times 5 is 60. Scroll down a bit. I'm going to get 60 plus 22 is now equal to 78. 60 plus 22 is 82. And so in this case, 82 is not equal to 78. And so then that means, as our answer, x equals 5 is not a solution. Okay. The last three problems we're going to do here is we're just going to be solving for x. So the first problem we have is 24x is equal to 72. Okay. In order to solve for x, I'm going to multiply both sides by 1 over 24. Again, you can think about it as just dividing, but I'm going to multiply them by 1 over 24. On the left-hand side, I'm just going to get x because everything cancels out. And on the right-hand side, I get 72 divided by 24. And 72 divided by 24, working out the division, we are left with 3 as our answer. Okay. Going to move on to the next problem now. The next problem, slightly more challenging. We're going to have 15x plus 7 is equal to 112. Okay. First thing I have to do is I have to undo the addition of 7, so I have to subtract 7 to both sides. And I will get 15x is now equal to 105. Now I'm going to multiply both sides by 1 over 15. And on the left-hand side, I just get x. And on the right-hand side, I get 105 divided by 15. 105 divided by 15, if we work that out, x will equal 7. 105 divided by 15 is 7. And there's our answer. All right, we have one more problem to do. It's a little bit more involved than the other ones, but it's still very similar. You have to keep in mind we're working with linear equations here. So we only have one variable term. Well, realistically, we have a set of variables that, a set of terms that have a variable, and then a set of constants. That's what we're working with. So the last problem we have here is negative 24x minus 3.6 is equal to 320.4. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3.6 to both sides. On the left-hand side, I'm going to get negative 24x. And on the right-hand side, 320 plus 3.6. Well, 320 plus 3 is 323. 0.4 plus 0.6 is 1. So then I'm left with 324. Now I will divide both sides by negative 24. And on the left-hand side, I just have x. On the right-hand side, I have 324 divided by -24. Let's go ahead and work this out on the side. So 324 will go inside the house, 24 will go outside, divide it out, and keep in mind that your answer will be negative. So 24 goes into 32 once. We get 8. Bring down the 4. 24 goes into 84 3 times. You will get 72. Subtract that out. And you'll get 12. And then we need to bring down a 0. We covered this in previous videos, but that's why I'm moving a little fast. So then 24 goes into 120. That is 5 times. And then 24 times 5 is 120. So then we end up with 0. So our answer will be x is equal to -13.5. Okay. There will be more problems to come in the next set of videos. In fact, we're going to get to more involved linear equations coming up in the next 2 videos. We're going to go over general strategies to linear equations, and then we will be going over much more advanced problems. But for right now, this is simple linear equations to work through.